Hello, Digital Dragons, and welcome to another issue of the Dragon Debrief. On this issue of the Dragon Debrief, we will be focusing on Ilearn updates, new staff, as well as student highlights. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, with Ilearn fast approaching, we wanted to make sure that all students are completely aware of the expectations as well as when these will be taking place. So for those of you that aren't aware, Ilearn is essentially a standardized test that the Indiana Department of Education requires all schools in the state of Indiana to take. With us being a virtual school, this is the one time of the year that students will be required to actually attend various testing sites throughout the state. And I believe the whole concept generally takes about 2 days. But every student is required to take it. For this specific test, the Ilearn, it will occur between April 15th and May 10th. I believe we have about 25 various testing sites throughout the state. All of them should be within about a 30-mile radius of most of our students, if not closer. So make sure you prepare for that timeline as we get closer to it, and more information will follow as we also get closer to that date as well. So again, it will be within various locations across the state. We'll have more information later on. And again, students are required to attend. Next, so with Ilearn, there is not necessarily a specific time limit that a student must attend. All they do is provide us with a recommended time. However, we really wanted to focus on our students improving this year and showing growth. And so what we decided to do over here at Indiana Gateway was to actually establish a minimum time limit that was about 60% of what the state recommended. So what that means is essentially this. When a student enters into their test and takes it, they are able to progress in the test to what is labeled as an in-test phase. During this time, essentially what happens is students are able to get a screen that pops up all the different questions that they had just answered, and then they can go back and review. Now, during this time limit, again, they can go back, review, see what else is going on, but they cannot actually click submit test, which is where students cannot go back until this time limit has been reached. And as you see right there, there are some examples of the specific time limits. If you have taken Ilearn with us before, all of these minimum time limits will still ensure that the schedule is followed and the students will be out of there at a specific point in time. Again, that information will come closer to the date. The other thing we wanted to implement was that students are definitely taking this test seriously. So all of the department leads here with the middle school have decided to give students 10 extra credit points on any assignment, given that they show some form of work during the test. Again, more information to follow later, but I wanted to make you all aware. Next, we have a whole bunch of new staff over here at the middle school. Some of them have started with us back in November, and some as early or as soon as this week. So first we have Mrs. Harrison, who is actually our 7th and 8th grade English teacher. We also have Mrs. Mays, who is also going to be in addition to our 7th and 8th grade math department. We also have Mr. Wagum, and he is actually going to be a mixture of 7th grade PE as well as our career courses that we have over here. And I just realized that to the bottom right is actually PJ. And so I'm seeing that I didn't change his name, so I apologize for that. But that is Mr. Rice. And Mr. Rice will be taking over 7th and 8th grade science classes on top of the teachers that are already with us. Again, make sure to be patient with us as we will be moving some students around because our enrollment has just been increasing or improving every single day. And so we're trying to add as much staff as we can to reduce those ratios and make sure that your child is getting the best educational experience that they can. Moving on, we have our 6th grade student highlight. And our 6th grade student highlight is Xavier Miller. And Mrs. Clifton, our 6th grade English teacher, had this to say about Xavier. Xavier is our student of the month for 6th grade, nominated by Mrs. Boss. Mrs. Boss says Xavier has worked very hard to overcome some challenges and has been consistently working with her to improve his grades in every class. He attends one-on-one sessions regularly and works hard to maintain his grades in coursework. Xavier is sometimes shy to speak up in class, but he makes up for it in his commitment to meet with Mrs. Boss and work on things that seem difficult. We are so proud of Xavier for not only taking personal responsibilities, but for his commitment and follow through to work hard consistently and taking pride in his education. Phenomenal job, Xavier. Next, we have our 7th grade student highlight, and our 7th grade student highlight is actually Sophia French. And Mrs. Barr, our 7th grade social studies teacher, had this to say about Sophia. Sophia is always enthusiastic and ready to learn. She is kind to her classmates and is willing to help. Amazing job, Sophia. And lastly, we have our 8th grade student of the month. And this week's 8th grade, our student highlight is Angel Dobson. And the entire 8th grade team had this to say about Angel. Angel is an all-around awesome student. She participates all class long and completes her work well and on time. She does a great job of thinking critically and staying on task in class. You can really tell she values her education, and I know she has a bright future ahead of her. We are lucky to have her as a digital dragon. She chose a picture of her cute pup to share from the entire 8th grade team. Angel, that is an adorable dog right there. I love it.